Derby County versus West Ham, the FA Cup. I love the FA Cup. It's honestly one of my most favourite competitions, but it's one this season that, and I really hate saying this, is that I'm kind of not really engaging with it. I'm just not. And it's only because of the season that we're enduring, in the Premier League. The fact that we're suffering so badly. And it's just been one of them seasons where, I don't know, the joy of football gets sucked out of you, doesn't it? And I think especially for West Ham fans in particular, because I know people will say, well, it's all football fans are the same. Well, no, the reason West Ham fans and we're feeling the way we are is because of the past couple of seasons we've had. We felt like we were turning a corner and getting away from all of this, and now we feel like we're just back into where we were, back in the rut. But I don't want to keep moaning about the Premier League. I don't want to keep moaning. We're going, we've got a big FA Cup game coming up against Derby. And it is big, and it is a big game. Although I've just sort of dismissed it and said I'm not too interested, it is a big game. And the reason it is a big game is because it gives West Ham the opportunity to build some momentum, to get some much needed, keep adding that confidence. We've just come off the back of a pretty decent 2-0 victory over Everton. I know people will say, well, it was Everton, they were rubbish, and we should have beaten them anyway. I actually thought we played pretty well. I thought we were okay. It wasn't brilliant, it wasn't an outstanding performance, but it was okay. It was a pretty solid performance from West Ham. And it was, like we talked about in the previous video, it was the Moyes of old. It felt like a little bit like he scrapped this obsession with possession play and we're going to try and change the way we play. It was a simple setup that worked. And I liked it. I really did like it. It felt a little bit like finally Moyes has woken up, taking a step back. Now, let's make no mistake about this. Derby County away is going to be really tough. They're League One, yes, and we're Premier League, yes. However, they're fourth in League One. They're doing well. They're a big side, big club, Derby. They shouldn't be in League One. We know that. I mean, really, arguably, they're a Premier League side, that kind of stature of a football club. So I'm anticipating a tough game. I think it's going to be very hard. I don't know much about the team news at the moment. I don't really know what's going to be happening. Obviously, we've got the likes of Zuma's going to be out. Skamaka will not be fit. There's going to be a few issues here and there. You do worry actually about the injury front, about how we're going to cope for the games coming up. But I imagine David Moyes is going to pick a pretty strong side for this. I do believe he will. I think the likes of Jared Bowen will be playing. And the reason I say that, the reason I think he should be playing these players is because we need them to be scoring goals. We need them to be, keep them going, a bit of momentum playing here. Now, I appreciate, can't risk injury. I think this is a good opportunity for certain players like Flynn Downs. I really would like to see play. Certainly, I'd like to see him play. I'd like to see Areola in goal, definitely. I'm actually starting to feel very sorry for Areola. I don't like the reports I'm hearing about he's got interest from abroad and I believe in France and Spain or something. So I'm a little bit worried about that. I don't want to lose him. I think he's a good goalkeeper. I just want to see a decent performance from West Ham. I like we all do. Just something we can build a bit of momentum on. And let's be honest, if we can get to the next round of the FA Cup, we're getting into sort of the business end of the competition. We start getting a bit excited. So there's a lot there. There's a lot riding on this, actually. Not only just for West Ham's confidence leading into the game against Newcastle, which, let's be honest, is bloody important, is a big game. We can't write it off. But it would be nice, wouldn't it? That winning feeling makes such a big difference. I did a poll, funnily enough, on Twitter, and I asked about David Moyes, his future. I haven't got the stats in front of me. I probably should have done this before, but I do know the numbers off the top of my head-ish. And I asked about David Moyes and his position as manager. And it was, this was after I believe it was the Brentford game, I believe, at home, I think. And I put the message out, what do we think of David Moyes? And it was something like, I think it was 91 or 92% wanted Moyes out, which is, very damning. And this wasn't like, 20 people. This was over 3,000. Then we got very similar response in terms of numbers for the same question that went out after the Everton game, and it went down to 52, I think, or 53%. And then that kind of shows you what winning does. I'm not calling fans fickle. We all are. We all know what football's like. We're all passionate, and when we win, we're all up, and when we lose, we're down. That is just life and football. We know that. But that's my point about the Derby game. Yes, it's Derby County. Yes, they're in League One, blah, blah, blah. West Ham are in the next... If West Ham win, it's a win. We're in the next round of the competition. It lifts everybody. It lifts the mood. It gives everyone a bit of optimism. It's a big game. Big game, David Moyes. I think he needs to get it right. The last thing he needs is an embarrassing defeat. It would only knock the confidence further, irk the fans even further. It can't happen. It's an important game. That's why I believe David Moyes will go for a strong lineup. I really do. What is your thoughts on this? I'd like to know who would you? I want to see some lineups. I want to see who you think should be playing. And bear in mind the importance of the games coming up. We've got Newcastle, Chelsea, and Tottenham. These are massive games, tough games as well. So keep in mind the injury front, who you want to risk, and things like that. Because Moyes has to get this right. He will be doing both those things. One, wanting to get a result, and two, not wanting to take too much risk, which is understandable. So I'm interested to know how we're going to line up. As I did mention earlier, I'd really like to see Bowen play. His 2 goals against Everton. I'd like to see him build on that. I think another game, if he could get another goal, I think 2 games on the spin, scoring goals would really help him. Ben Rama certainly would like to see play. As I've said on Flynn Downs, there's a few players I would like to see in the team. I really would. So yeah, it'd be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Kira as well, I'd quite like to see back in the side. Although I know he's a bit prone, he had his issues. These are sort of games you think, come on, go and show us what you can do, and put in a decent performance. Get the confidence levels up. Yeah, I'm very. What's the word? I don't know whether I'm always anxious when West Ham are playing anyway. I always get sort of slight anxiety, especially when I'm not playing that well. But I think the fact that it's one of those banana skin games, you just pray, don't you, when these games come along? I just think, just don't embarrass us. Please don't embarrass us, because I don't want to go to work on Tuesday embarrassed. I really hope West Ham can just put a decent performance, pull out a professional performance even so, get the result, come away and give us that lift, 2 wins on the spin before we go and play Newcastle United. I'm looking forward to it. Come on, you Irons.